My original goal was, I wanted to be a ring announcer ever since I was a kid. Pro wrestling, I used to sit with my grandfather. I don't really think people understand how humble he really is. How about a heel manager? Ever thought about being a heel manager? Johnny Fabulous was born that day. We're all part of the show. Behind the curtain, I'm John Cena Sr. I think the greatest ones I call were the one with John Walters and Louis Ortiz. Kofi Kingston's a star. Todd Hansen's a star. Tommaso Ciampa is a star. I've experienced a young man start from the beginning. He never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot who he was.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm so pumped for this one. John Cena Sr., man, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for allowing me to do it. It's truly an honor. I appreciate it.
I said it to you at the first time I met you at Teddy Goodz show. It's such an honor. I have the pictures I showed you when I met you when I was like 6 years old. So the fact that all these years later, I can commentate shows with you and I've been a part of so many shows with you, thank you for everything.
Well, thank you. You do a great job at what you do, and you and I have a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, it's a blast. Anytime Teddy tells me he's on the call, I'm on the call with you. I'm pumped for it.
Teddy's the man. I'll tell you, he puts on a real professional show.
Yeah.
And I've been in a lot of locker rooms, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but he probably has one of the most professional locker rooms that I've been in, really.
Nice. I think one of the words to describe live pro wrestling is just fun. Like, no matter what you're going to do there, it's just you're having a fun time with these guys.
The philosophy there is, and I'm part of that philosophy, if you're not having fun doing it, then get out.
Yeah.
You know what? We're there to have fun. We're
Yeah.
there to entertain the fans and work with each other and be happy. It's a fun time.
I'm curious for you when you talk pro wrestling. I listened to a couple of the interviews. For pro wrestling for you is a different time, but what was it about wrestling that made you want to get involved in it?
Well, ever since I was a kid, pro wrestling, I used to sit with my grandfather, and Gordon Soley, if you remember, was the voice of pro wrestling then. And I was allowed to watch pro wrestling from 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And it was a little longer than that. If you remember, that show was a little longer, but I only had that time frame because, God rest my grandfather's soul, he had to watch Hopalong Cassidy and the Lone Ranger.
Okay.
So as I began to watch those shows, I became more interested in sort of the mystique behind the curtain about professional wrestling. And the more I grew more interested and it became more mystical, the more I wanted to explore it. And that's when I first began to aid in promoting it. So if you wanted a show, I was the guy that got the posters, made sure you got the posters, checked the tickets, checked the money, made sure the talent was there. And that's how it all started.
What was like your first step into pro wrestling, your first role? And when it comes to wrestling, what was like the original goal? Just to be a part of it?
My original goal was, I wanted to be a ring announcer. I remember, God rest his soul, when Walter Kowalski used to film the TV show, I would be in the audience. And I'd always have this, for some reason, this black coat and yell at, and somebody came over and said, "You want to be part of this?" He said, You're a great manager. And I said, "No, I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here to have fun." And all the time under my breath, I'm going, "You jerk. You could have got a shot at it right here."
Wow.
But I didn't. So I just kept on trying. And my ultimate goal was, I didn't care if I was, and I did it once I get into it, setting up the ring, doing posters. It was just being part of something I truly loved.
Nice. I'm curious, when you look at your career, for you, what would you consider your first big opportunity in wrestling?
I guess if you're talking about the indie scene, I guess it was when I first decided after my divorce, it was a very depressing time for me, that it was time to move on. And Knuckles Nelson, who was then Star Wars Wrestling, remember Knuckles?
Oh, yeah, I interviewed him a few weeks ago.
Well, please, I wish I'd known that. Say hi to him. He is a tremendous human being. And I got to tell you something. I don't really think people understand how humble he really is. He's very humble, very humble. He won't take credit for a whole lot, and he should. He should. So he was having tryouts for a ring announcer. And I went down to try out for a ring announcer, and ultimately what happens is I got somebody. Okay, I'm happy. There's somebody else looking for a ring announcer. So nah. How about a heel manager? Ever thought about being a heel manager? Well, guess what? I just gone through a divorce, lost the person I loved the most in my life. Excuse me, my sons were like, Dad, you're just not with it. You're not the nice guy we thought. And I was, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I really like that. I really like that idea. And so that was the door that opened. And then we came up with a name. We were arguing, what do you call him? Johnny Cash? You can't do that because that guy's like, hello, my name's Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And, Johnny Wonderful, Super John. And it was Knuckles that said, it's got to be fabulous.
Wow.
Johnny Fabulous was born that day. And I remember my first thing with Knuckles, I was sitting in the audience just taking notes. And then all of a sudden I hit the guy with the briefcase and it just went from there. It was so bad. I got the young lady who was Miss New Hampshire crying.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's where it all started. That's when Johnny Fabulous, the heel, was born.
So you talk about the name Johnny Fabulous. What were you going for managing? What was the inspiration?
The inspiration for me as a manager came from some of the all-time greats that I actually had a chance to work with and see. Who could ever forget? And I watched, when I tell you I watched tapes, I watched tons and tons of tapes. And, the young people need to understand something today. It's not about going to a wrestling school and then jumping in a ring. That ain't how it works, brother. How it works is you watch the tapes. You ask questions when you're finished. There aren't many, and you and I have been to a lot of shows, and I've done a lot of shows in 16 years. I've never, ever, there's a very small handful that come back and say, what can I do better? Even myself, when I finish out there, I'll go back and say, Ted, is it okay? Chris Blackheart or Richie, is it okay? What can I do to make it better? But the guys that influenced me, I worked with Captain Lou Albano. He was a great manager that only management could bump. And I remember Lou one day saying to me, you're good at this. Why aren't you with WWE? Then it was WWF. And I said, gee, I don't know. You got any contacts? That would be kind of fun. The other guy that Grand Wizard, I watched a lot of his stuff. Who can forget the greatest of the great? You had the Weasel. That man was awesome. And, take a look at all those guys that gave their life to being that persona that wasn't there to promote them. They were there to put you over. And so I watched oodles and oodles of tapes. I watched them and I asked questions. What's it take to be a manager? What is cheap heat? Does that mean you get a good deal on your oil? No. So what is cheap heat? What should I do? How should I act? I watch some of these young men and women today, even the wrestlers who try to be managers or get out there and wrestle, and you suck, shut up. That's cheap heat. You don't need cheap heat. Vicky Guerrero was an influence on me. That young lady, when she came to the screen, only said 2 words.
Yep.
Excuse me. And she was booed out of the arena. Another great today, and I mean great. You can't take it away from the one and only. Hello, my name is Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
That man is a genius.
Yeah.
I took a lot of, I just stole a lot of stuff. I guess if you can use that word, because he's a genius. He's so smart at what he does and how he does it.
Yeah.
And that's where it all came from.
When they talk about you first being a manager, who was the first ever person that you managed?
I believe that was with Knuckles Nelson, and I managed Knuckles Nelson.
Nice.
That was the first time I managed anyone, and he was against Freight Train.
Wow.
And I remember, learning the ropes basically because I was setting up the ring. I started from the bottom. Everybody thinks, you walk in, you start from the top. You know what? You may go to school, you may have a great time, you may get booked, but it all goes down to this, brother. We're all part of the show. We need help with the ring. We need help putting it up. We need help taking it down. We need help with seating. I don't think people understand that's how it works. but that's what it was Freight Train. And I remember choking Freight on the ropes, and he
Yeah.
goes, "It's a little too much, brother." I
Aw.
was really, yep. But that's the first guy. That was the first guy.
One thing that stands out about you, obviously, is your confidence, whether it's on the mic, commentary. Did you always have that for you, or if not, how did you build it? Because in pro wrestling, not everyone has it and still don't.
I think God has blessed me. I
Nice.
really do. And I really mean that. You know the pin I wear. I
Hmm.
wear that pin everywhere I go, along with my angel. Um, I do a lot of readings. I did a lot of acting in high school and college. And so I think it's carried itself over. And so when I grab the stick or I come out behind the curtain, I'm John Cena Sr. If they bring me out like Teddy does as John Cena's dad,
Yeah.
then the persona changes, the character evolves. And to me, it's just a part in a play. And I guess that's the way I look at it.
Hmm.
I don't know how anybody else would look at it, but once you come out, you're that character. And I did a seminar for some of the kids on managers, and I said, the thing you have to understand is you are who you are behind that curtain. But once I bring you out, you are that character. How would they speak? How would they act? And it's no different than getting in the middle of the ring with that stick. And that's my audience.
Yeah.
Let's play him. Let's play him. Whether I'm a good guy, okay. If I'm a bad guy, then it gets a little worse. But that's how it works with me.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier sitting in the crowd, and at one of Kowalski's shows, they ask you if you want to be a part of the show. How does the opportunity for Chaotic start?
You know, chaotic wrestling, me and Father Palladino, as I call him, he's a great human being.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. A lot of the young men and women there were great people. Look at Todd Hansen, look at Brian Malonis, look at who's the guy that's in charge now?
Chase,
Chase,
the Logans.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's a 25th anniversary show they got coming up. I don't know if they've had it already. I would have loved to have been part of that.
Mhm.
That they were just such great human beings. I will obviously say that I had some issues later on down the line with only one person.
Mhm.
So if you can't have anything nice to say, then don't say it.
Yeah.
So we won't say it. I was asked by the person who owned it at that time if I would be willing to do commentary. And I said, I always want to be part of anything.
Yeah.
Remember what I said? I'd love to do commentary. So all of a sudden, they go, "You're going to be working with this guy." I'm going, "What? Rich Palladino?
Oh,
The
wow.
man? The guy?"
Mhm.
And they said, "Yep." And so it was Rich and I doing the chaotic wrestling. That's how I got into it with chaotic, asked to become part of that group.
Was there a match or a moment that sticks out, Colin, with Palladino? Because even nowadays, Chaotic is starting to slowly post this old footage, and you and Palladino are on the calls for all of it.
I think the matches that I enjoyed calling the most,
Mhm.
and every one of them were top-notch matches. I hope nobody is offended.
Yeah.
Todd, Brian Malonis, Cherry, I remember her.
Yeah.
Remember her? I think she's Todd's girlfriend
Wife.
now, or what?
Yeah.
Right? She's a great human being. Um, you know, um, I think the greatest ones I call were the one with John Walters and Louis Ortiz.
Nice.
I got to tell you something, and then ultimately, as you know, I ended up managing Walters.
How does
But
this idea come to be?
what idea is that?
How does John Cena Sr., Johnny Fabulous get with John Walters? Whose idea is it?
I think that just became a thing. I don't quite think that happened at Chaotic Wrestling.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about that.
Big time?
I do remember. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Was it big time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it was a fluke thing, and Steve Perkins goes, "Tonight you met John Walters." Well, who we facing? Ric Flair. No, you're kidding me. You're kidding me, right? No. And then it went back and forth, big time. Then back to Chaotic with John Walters and Louis Ortiz. They had some of the best feuds in the world,
Mhm.
and I was very, very fortunate to be allowed, and I mean this, and I say this every time I do a match with any young couple or young person, I'm very fortunate to be allowed by them to be a part of what's happening in their life. I'm just a small part, and I'm very fortunate to be allowed to do that. But Louis Ortiz and John Walters had some of the best matches I've seen in a long time.
Wow. From being at Chaotic pretty much since the start, is there anyone that straight up you knew were going to be stars? Because if you look at the Chaotic Wrestling roster then, so many people have gone on to do great things and even still killing it on the indies.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, there was a young man that came in there with his own thing, man. He
Yeah.
said, I'm the man. Yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man. And I remember saying to somebody, give that kid a year and he's going to be in the WWF. And that person said to me, I don't think he's going anywhere. Well, Kofi Kingston's a star.
Yeah.
Todd Hansen's a star.
Mm-hmm.
Tommaso Ciampa is a star.
Thomas penmanship.
I'm telling you something, I look at those guys and I sit back and say, how fortunate I am to be able to be a small part. Either I'm a bad guy or a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Ciampa and who was it? Oh, God, see, Slick Wagner Brown.
Nice.
With JBL, who was God rest his soul with Dan Marotti. They were shoving my own money down my throat, and because he attacked me from behind.
Yeah.
And JBL was going, you should have drunk the Kool-Aid, and he poured his drink down my throat. Tommaso Ciampa and some of these guys, like I said, Slick Wagner Brown. I don't know why he was never picked up. But those three guys, I said right away, had the capability. Why they never took Brian Malonis, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Was there something about Kofi? Because when I interviewed Mike Hollow, he said the same thing. The first day he came into school, he knew there was something about it. Was there something specific you think that stood out about Kofi?
Yes, there was. The thing that stood out about Kofi Kingston was the desire to succeed and the desire to learn. He was always there. What do you think? I don't know. Bing, bang, back. I'll tell you another guy that was a chaotic. Bonecrusher Sampson. Do you remember Bonecrusher?
Oh, yeah. I was watching some of his matches the other day.
So he and I would chat a lot backstage. Matter of fact, my last match was had the shit kicked out of me by him.
Wow.
It was if my guy lost, he get 5 minutes in the ring with me. And he really, really gutted me out. But it was good. It was really good. I remember saying to him in the back, he said, man, I don't know. I don't think I can. I feel weak. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I said, please do me a favor, man. Stay with it because you got it. You could feel it. When you bump into folks, you can just feel that they have the love. Kofi Kingston, Todd Hansen, Tommaso Ciampa, Bonecrusher, they had something that you need. Love for this business.
Nice.
And they were willing to do anything they had to succeed. And Kofi, and they all climbed that ladder at the same time. I'll give you another one that was one that I picked. Sasha Banks.
Mm-hmm.
Where she is now, we could have a different story about that.
Yeah.
But where she is now and where she was, I remember doing a show with her for Chris Sataro in Powerhouse Wrestling. And her mom was there, and she said, I don't know, maybe I don't know. I think I might give it up. I said, no, don't.
Wow. You
don't realize what you have. She had so much ability, but it's awful hard on the indies. It's not an easy fight out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very easy to get depressed. It's very easy to be defeated. And I used to tell everybody, and I still do, don't do that. Only one person's going to defeat you in this business. It's you.
Yeah.
Stay with it. You know what? You may never, ever make the WWF or WWE or AEW or TNA, but you're part of a profession on the other side that's just as good and just as great.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to hear.
Yeah.
But that's how it was with those guys.
Wow. When you talk the indies right now, you're the commissioner for 3 different companies: Live Pro Wrestling, Showcase, House of Bricks. I'm curious for these companies. House of Bricks, is there a moment that stands out so far?
I guess the one that would stand out, and I can combine the House of Bricks with Showcase Pro Wrestling. When Brickhouse and his sons were Gary Gold, myself, and I forget the third guy, we did the dog matches, if you remember correctly.
I was talking to David Baker last night about these.
That, and Baker and I would chat. And we'd say, what do you think? I said, we get 6 months at least out of this. And Blackheart was going, I don't know, maybe 2 matches. No, Chris, we're going to get 6 months out of this. And we did. And it was all about storylines, and it was all about less was more.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? These guys today think you got to do backflips, you got to jump off the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
You got to show. No.
And it's only a 2 count.
Yeah. And so we did the obvious when Baker turned his back on his own kid, or his kid turned it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when they had to eat the dog food, this is a true story. So the end match, again, it's one that I remember very fondly, was they lost, obviously. So they had to eat the dog food.
Yep.
Okay, so we said, we'll cut the label of corned beef hash. We'll put Alpo or whatever it was on it, like they did with the John Cena and Paul Heyman when he ate the soap.
Yeah.
That was like chocolate. So and you know what Baker said? You're just doing that. We're using real dog food.
Wow.
Those guys ate Alpo.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man, that sticks in my mind.
Yeah. When you talk the indies, I'm curious, is there anything specific, whether it's in the ring or in the locker room, that stands out from when you first started to now? Is there a big difference?
Yes, there is a big difference. When I first started 16 years ago, there was kayfabe, there was respect, there was consideration. When you go in the locker rooms today, somehow it's lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's lost. I'll give you an example. I was doing a show with Big Time Wrestling. I was managing Gino Martino, and he was going against the Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy Piper came in. God rest his soul. Hi, how you doing? Everybody's great. Do you know, not one person will get up to give him a seat.
Wow.
Not one person. Gino Martino and I get up, and that's called respect. That's called respect. And the kayfabe end of it, I guess, I shouldn't take a whole lot of issue with it. But if you look back when I was a kid, and you look at the wrestling then, and look at the wrestling now, you actually believed that Bruno Sammartino broke his neck.
Yeah.
You actually believed that he got the stuffing beat out of him at Boston Garden by Ivan Koloff. All right? To the point where they had to have security around Koloff so he wouldn't get killed. And they had to bring Larry Zbyszko into the garden in the trunk of a car.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over. I think, you know, as soon as a man said it's entertainment, that kind of reminds me of you and I being at the Wizard of Oz and pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But see, it's the man behind the curtain and all those little figures that are making the magic.
Yeah.
And somehow the magic is lost. You know, and when you go into the locker rooms, you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when I walk in the locker room, or you walk into the locker room, hey, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? I'm John. I'm Jack. Hey, I'm Chris. Great.
Yeah.
Some guys won't even do that. They're too busy. You know, they're too busy doing what they shouldn't be doing, and that's putting a match together in the back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here I go on a rant, but you know, in the day when I started, we knew the opening, we knew the ending.
Yep. Everything else
in the middle was done in the ring, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
You look at some of my son's matches, even now. Look at the match that he had with Cody Rhodes. He's still calling the match. You can hear him.
Yeah.
You can hear him. And I'm going, what? Triple H is another guy that used to do that.
Yeah. Wow.
But see, that's how it goes because it does two things. The young men and women today don't know how to read the crowd. They have no ring psychology. They have no understanding of what it's all about. If it's slow, then you can tell your partner it's time to take it home. If it's up there, we can go another two, but then we got to take it home because you don't want to take the heat off the other people in the back room.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see anybody in the WWE or TNA or AEW use somebody else's moves 4 or 5 times. What do you see in the indies?
Everything.
Yeah, I did a show with Steve Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
The first match goes out. They did Ric Flair's chops. They did Walter's move. They did Hurricane Radas. They came in the back and said, wow, I guess that was great. I said, that was slack. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So all those things have changed. And I think that there's no storylines anymore.
Do you think people are watching matches to see what they do prior anymore or no?
Watching matches for what?
like watching the matches to say like, oh, the first match they used a Hurricane Rana or something, so let's not use it? Or do you think people are just going out there and just planning it nowadays? And
They just use it. They just do it.
yeah.
They do it. They do it. And as I give you an example, I was managing somebody who's not in the WWE anymore. He was an indie wrestler,
Hmm.
and the other wrestler was an indie wrestler. So
Okay.
we go over the match. It was supposed to be a squash. I had managed this man as the Russian giant, couldn't be taken off his feet. The match was supposed to go 2 minutes. I'm out there managing this man, and he gets knocked off his feet. He almost gets pinned, and it happens 3 times, and the match is 8.5 minutes.
Wow.
He hadn't ultimately pinned him.
Hmm.
We go back in the back, and I go, "What was that all about?" You know what the answer was from the other wrestler? I had to get my shine. No, your job was to go out there and get your ass beat for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And you're the damn fool for going along with that, because you know what you just did? It took me 4 months to get you where you are now. You just killed it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some
I'm
things
curious.
have changed.
Yeah, I'm curious about when we talk about the WWE. You obviously love pro wrestling. You talk about at the beginning all these larger than life figures. For you personally, when you got to do stuff, whether it was with Edge or Randy Orton, how much different was it, obviously, from doing the indies to the big leagues for you?
It's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. You're there at a specific time. You have a producer. Arn Anderson was my producer. They tell you what you're going to do. They tell you what you're going to say.
Hmm.
I'll give you an example. When I did This Is Your Life, John Cena.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it. We're going over it, and I got it in my hand. And I go, well, this isn't bad. And if I forget something, I'll just ad lib it. To which I was told, point blank, if you can't do it, you won't do it.
Wow.
Right there is what we want you to say. And I don't take offense to that,
Hmm.
because it's like acting.
Yeah.
So it was big, it was different. Vince was heavily involved. The match I did with Randy Orton, if you remember, what I got beat up in the middle of the ring. Yeah.
Hmm.
Unlike the kick, he came down to the ring and he didn't believe that we could John could unscrew that, get out of the handcuff and get in. So we actually had to do that.
Wow.
And it's completely different. In the Indies, they say, okay, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
Whether it works or not, if you're supposed to be somewhere, and I'll give you an example, I was supposed to be somewhere. Somebody said to me who was up the ladder, "What are you sitting here for?" I said, "I'm waiting for this person to come and get me." "Oh, really?" It wasn't 30 seconds after that person came over and said, "What did you say? Get out there now. I'm taking you out now." So it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I work with on the indie circuit
Hmm.
would never survive, not even 5 minutes at NXT or WWE or TNA or AEW.
Yeah.
Just couldn't do it.
Wow. When you talk your resume, your career goes and goes. So I'm curious for you. Talk about originally promoting and things like that. 2007, the Millennium Wrestling Federation. What's your mindset behind being a part of it at first? You love pro wrestling, but this is your vision at the time after a while.
So Millennium Wrestling Federation, the MWF,
Yeah.
you have to understand, was a storyline. I got brought in as supposedly, quote unquote, the owner of this.
Okay.
I was never the owner of the MWF.
Okay.
Did I have significant input? Absolutely. Did I own it? Absolutely not.
Okay.
That was owned by, God rest his soul, Daniel Frangello,
Hmm.
Dan Maratti,
Yeah.
and his partner. So I just, when I first got into that, it was good. We had a lot of differences. I walked out 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
I just wouldn't take the bull. I just don't do that. You don't make fun of people. You don't joke about them. You don't do these things. So I don't tolerate that very well.
Hmm.
I do not tolerate that very well. And but outside of that, no, I had to square a few people away. I'm saying, look, first of all, when I got a call from somebody in WWE that a superstar was coming in, what's he coming to your promotion for? It's not my promotion.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
not my promotion.
Was
Do I have
there?
some- Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, during that time, there was a few people that came into that promotion. Was there a match or moment for you that stands out from the NWF?
Um, we had Devon Dudley in there. That was a great match.
Nice.
He did a great job. I have a lot of respect for him, and I'm going to give this a plug. I hope the fans are ready. I think it's October 15th,
Okay.
or whatever it is. Devon Dudley and Bubba Ray Dudley versus for the very last time in a tables, ladders, and chair match in Lowell, Massachusetts, the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't go see that match, you're crazy.
Are you going?
I will not. I will not
Okay.
be able to do that. I'm telling you, I am so disappointed I can't be there.
Yeah.
That's a sellout. That's got to be a sellout.
Yeah.
8,000 tickets. I think that's going to be gone.
Yeah. I'm curious for you. Live pro wrestling nowadays, you've been doing so many things, but I'm curious. I see it at the merch table. When do the Whoopie Pies come in for you?
Yeah, the Whoopie Pies. So as you know, and I get a compliment from my son John, who said, "I've never seen anybody so into his character as you." And I took that as a real nice compliment. I had my soda, I had my cigars. I do have private label wine that I don't sell. I give
Yeah.
away. I do have my own fabulous hot sauce.
Wow.
Um, and so what happened was, I up at Beaumont Hall and Wells,
Mhm.
I collect toys. It's one thing I do, toys,
Yeah, okay.
wrestling figures.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to get a table up there with my girlfriend Monice, and this guy named Brian Brouillard makes whoopie pies. He bakes them in his garage. And so I said, I'll try one of these because every whoopie pie, excuse me, I have ever had was not good.
Hmm.
I bite into this red velvet whoopie pie and I'm going, holy moly. And then I tried the original and I said, would he wholesale to me? I call him up. He said, absolutely. Because he was doing shipping to Canada. He'll ship now. I have it up on my Twitter page. If people want to get the address and order whoopie pies.
I'll put the link in the bio. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can find it, it's up
Absolutely.
there. And people are ordering the whoopie pies. And so those have been a big hit.
Hmm. Wow.
Those are half-pound whoopie pies. They're not the 4 ounce. They're
Yeah.
half-pound, 8 ounce whoopie pies. And we have 30 flavors, or he has 30 flavors. He's working on 2 more. I want him to do a cannoli.
Nice.
I want to do a circus, which is a vanilla cake with a rainbow
Okay.
and candy filling.
Wow.
So, yeah, but it's been a fun time.
Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? I give most of them away.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
People will sell, I sell them obviously to get back my investment.
Mhm.
And when I do things with Teddy Goodz, I'll sell them to them, to the group, so you can pay me what I pay for them, sell them for whatever you want. They always sell out. And little kids will come to the table. How much are those? This is what I have, 50 cents. Oh, it's perfect. See you later. Bye. It's like,
Yeah.
but those things have really taken off. I didn't think they would, but they have.
You talk about collecting real quick. I'm curious for you. Do you have like a holy grail or something that sticks out from your collection? Action figures or anything like that?
Maybe I do. I think I have the number 1 and only USA spinner belt from John
Nice.
Cena.
Well, you talk action figures. Is there anything?
I have some John Cena action
Okay.
figures. I have his first ever action figure.
Nice.
I have those. I'll tell you, I did have Ninja Turtles till I found out what they were worth, and then I sold those and gave my granddaughters the money.
Nice.
But yeah, I have quite a collection. I repaired Teddy Ruxpin's, so I've got Teddy Ruxpin's up there.
Wow.
I have some of the dolls from Worlds of Wonder. I have games you can't find.
Wow.
But I guess it's time to unload because my sons don't want any part of it.
Yeah. When I talk John Cena Sr., one thing I love is you're still killing on YouTube. So catching up with John Cena, what was the idea behind it? And you're having a blast.
You know how much I love life
Absolutely, yeah.
and how much I love people. I do. That's my whole life.
Mhm.
People and just being in love with people in the world. So I was cooking one day for a bunch of people here. I was doing prime rib and garlic mashed potatoes and bruschetta, and they
Yeah.
said, "You need a cooking show." I said, "Oh, come on. Nobody's going to want to see me cook." And they go, all right. So Tom, Mo's son, my girlfriend Moni's son, said, I'll set you up with YouTube. So we did the first episode,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're up to episode 20.
Wow.
So now that we're up to episode 20, I'm just going to move for a second.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't know if I have it in this room, but I didn't know what to give away.
Mm.
So what I'm going to do is I think I need to get to at least 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers.
Mm.
So what I am going to do, I have the very last number 10 of 10. I only copied 10 of these.
Yeah.
I have the original. 10 of 10. The picture is copied. The autographs are real. Tony Atlas drew a big picture of myself and my son.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to give that away.
Wow.
But on one condition.
Yeah.
That I reach 2,000 subscribers.
Nice, nice.
I'll show you. If it's right here. I don't know if you can see it or not. Whoops.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. You can see that. Oh, yeah. Wow.
So that is an authentic
Yeah.
autograph. On the back of every one of those pictures that was copied, there's a COA, notarized.
Wow.
Notarized. And so I have 10 of 10 left. The other ones, I gave one to a special friend.
Nice.
The rest were given to charity for auctioning off, like Make-A-Wish or whatever.
That's awesome. When you talk to YouTube, did you have original goals, or you just love cooking and someone says, hey, let's put it on YouTube?
I just love cooking.
Nice.
I love cooking. And then it seemed to blossom into every time somebody say, when's your next show? When's your next show? When's your next show? And that's how we got to 20 episodes.
Nice.
I have one now I've got to put up. There were a lot of mistakes in that show, but I said, leave them in. It's real. Let people see how the pasta machine didn't work. Because that was stupid.
Yeah.
All right. And then I got a guy coming on, Jeff. We're going to do the next show is going to be chicken piccata.
Nice.
I probably am going to end up doing a show with barbecue chicken wings.
Okay.
So it's just one thing after the other.
Yeah.
Everybody has a great time when we do it. I have a great time when I do it. And it started out as a dream, I guess.
Wow. When you talk about having a dream and forming a relationship, where did the relationship start for you and Kowloon's? Because you're always there for all the shows you're advertising on Twitter. Everyone, you're always having a good time, whether it's Major Pod, R-Truth, the Hardys. Where did the relationship start for you?
Relationship started when John Cena first started in the business.
Okay.
Because, as you know, sometimes John would go back for supper after the show. So it was kind of like, Dad, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Okay.
Before wrestling, were you guys going there actively or not really? Or
I was always a Kowloon guy.
Okay.
I remember going there with a young lady for her senior prom.
Wow.
So now you know that
Yeah.
here we go. Me and Jesus walked the earth at the same time. So,
Yeah.
sorry, Lord. But that's so I've always enjoyed their food. They're number one. And the Wong family, you cannot ask for a better group of people.
Yeah.
Very kind, very generous. God bless Andy, Bobby, and that whole team there in the kitchen, the wait staff. They are absolutely, as I say, now I'm plugging the Kowloon, but when you go to the Kowloon, you're not a customer. You're part of the family.
Nice.
And that's just how you get treated. The Kowloon in Saugus, Massachusetts is the best of the best.
Wow.
And so I would meet John there for a meal. Then John would say to me, Dad, I'm coming in, but I got to fly right out. So I say, yeah, but I need a Chinese fix.
Yeah.
So go ahead. So I would walk in and Andy would be there. Hey, Mr. Cena, how are you? Fine. I got a table over here for you, sir. And that was the beginning of the end.
Wow.
So I'm like a junkie, whatever. I need that Kowloon fix. And so I've been very fortunate because, as you know, I believe it's November 12th. Mick Foley's at the Kowloon.
Nice.
And I think it's is it the night? When is that match? Is it the 15th for the Hardy Boys?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a very special night because from there they're going back to the Kowloon.
Wow, nice.
And I understand that what you'll get from that is, I think it's, I don't know, maybe 500-600 a head. I have no idea. let's say, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Look it up on the website.
Yeah.
But you get a bag of swag and a signed poster and some other stuff. But it's worth every penny. But
Absolutely.
they're coming in, I think, for November 10th. I don't know if they're going to do anything special in the morning and then go to Boston with John's performance.
Yeah.
But so that's how I get hooked up. And it's like whenever I would wrestle down in Rhode Island
Hmm.
or I'd wrestle in New Bedford, I would make it a point to find Route 1
Nice.
so I could have Kowloon food. And now they close at 9:30, and on the weekends I think it's 10:30.
Yeah.
But then they didn't close till 2 in the morning.
Wow.
So I could get supper at like 1 in the morning or 1:30. But
Yeah.
that's it.
Beyond pro wrestling, when did the Justice of the Peace come into mind for you? Was that something you wanted to do? Obviously, in wrestling, we talk about the confidence and everything, but this is like kind of a different ball field for you.
Um, I always wanted to be a justice. I was a notary public,
Okay.
but a notary public can't marry people. And neither can a justice of the peace, unless when you get your appointment, in that appointment is also reads and also to be allowed to solemnize marriages.
Wow.
So 18 years ago, when I was in the city of Methuen, Mayor Sharon Pollard said to me, do you still want to be a justice and marry people? I said, yes. She said, well, in your town, see, when you go to be a justice, it goes by the number of people. That's how you determine the number of justices.
Mm-hmm.
We only had one in West Newbury. She didn't want to renew. She was leaving. So they called me. Let me get that application right in there.
Yeah.
And I did. And it started a whole new adventure. For me, I remember the first wedding I did on the steps of a city hall. If you talk about being nervous, you got it.
Wow.
Nervous. Well, I had never done a wedding. I
Yeah.
assisted at a lot of weddings because I do a lot with the church. I assisted at weddings, but now, so to speak, I'm the man.
Yeah.
I'm the man. And so as I progressed, I would borrow services and I say, no, this is not what I want. So now what I do is every couple I marry, I meet with all the couples first. I don't marry every couple I meet with. I'm very serious about what I do.
Yeah.
And I write a service for every couple. No service is ever the same.
Wow.
And like I tell the couples when they meet me, I say, my sons always say I'm a bubble off center. So if you want a justice that's going to read the book and not laugh, not joke, and not kid, you certainly don't want me.
Yeah.
You certainly don't want me.
Wow.
And that's it. And I've been doing it ever since. Matter of fact, I have a wedding this Friday.
That's awesome. Wow. I'm curious, when you look throughout your career, for you personally, who are your biggest mentors?
As far as
Anything in pro wrestling, when you first got your first starts, whether it was inspiration, I know we talked about commentary. Who are some of the people that you would consider your biggest mentors in pro wrestling?
Bruno Sammartino.
Nice.
Bruno Sammartino was a guy that came from Italy, a strong man, a weightlifter, kind of like John.
Yeah.
And look what he did. Look what he did.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, God rest his soul. What a legend. Larry Zbyszko, a Hulk Hogan to a point. Arn Anderson. I look at all these guys back in my time. Chief Jay Strongbow.
Yeah.
Who, people go to this day, wow, what a great Indian wrestler he was. Well, maybe we'll tell you the secret, maybe we won't.
Yeah.
But those guys were influential on me. And ring announcers, obviously, God rest his soul, Howard Finkel.
Yeah.
Who can forget the Fink? We'll never tell how he got that name, but who can forget him?
Yeah.
Then you had Gordon Soley. You got Justin Roberts. I had so many people that I could steal material from, if that's a good choice of words.
Yeah.
But those things stand out of my mind. Those people motivated me. Sammartino's determination, his ability to make the crowd believe. Roddy Piper, he was always smiling, styling, and the next thing you know, he stabbed you right in the back.
Yeah.
So guys like that, yep.
At the beginning, you talking about when you first got into wrestling, you just want to be a part of wrestling. Nowadays, do you have any goals, or you're still just continue it because you love it?
I'm still with it.
Nice.
I love what I do. I don't take as much as I used to. Obviously, I'm older now. So I really can't do the FU anymore.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
But I'm not allowed to by my doctor.
Okay.
So and so I said to him jokingly, I said, so I can't do this anymore. And he goes, Yeah, you could have a problem with that heart valve. So we just want to make sure that you don't do that. I say, look, what happens if I do it? He said, well, you might have a little heart attack. I said, okay. How about if I do it if she's blonde, blue eyes, gorgeous? He
Yeah,
goes, what a way to go. Yeah, but that's it. So
yeah,
I'm very careful what I do. I don't mind taking bumps. I
yeah.
can do those. I still do those here and there. Um, but I'm not as active as in the ring because I remember when I wrestled for Baker, I actually wrestled.
Hmm.
And same thing with Knuckles.
Yeah.
And the same thing for Chris Blackheart. And the same thing for Steve Perkins.
Wow.
So, and Freight Train. But now at my age now, I guess it's kind of just slow it a little bit, not a
Yeah.
lot. Nope.
Yeah. So when this gets posted, we record months in advance. This weekend is your son's final match, but I'm curious for you at the beginning. For you personally, what were your overall takes when you first wanted to get involved in pro wrestling? Obviously something that you loved, but seeing him get involved in it at first.
Well, first of all, I'll put it to you this way.
Hmm.
If you told me my son was going to be a pro wrestler, I'd call you a liar.
Wow.
Because his whole idea was to get away from me, supposedly,
Hmm.
and go to California and be this great bodybuilder, which he was good at, very good at. He was clean, didn't do steroids, hasn't done steroids as far as I know.
Yeah.
He was probably the most tested guy in WWF and WWE.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever tested 2 or 3 times a week, ever. But then when you got a place to live? Yes, I do. You got a place to work? Yes, I do. Lie, lie, lie. He had a job at Gold's Gym? Yes.
Mhm.
Homeless by choice, as he says when you interview him. Homeless by choice. Lived in his car. Ate power bars. Showered at the gym. Worked out in the gym. Back to the car. Back to work. 80 hours. And then it was 2 guys from UPW that saw him and said, do you ever think about pro wrestling? And that's when he said, excuse me, my old man used to promote it. Maybe I'd like to try it.
Yeah.
Come on down to the school. And that's when I got a call about 2 or 3 months later. He said, Dad, how you going? I said, pretty good. How about yourself? He said, I got another job. So what are you doing? I'm a pro wrestler. I said, yeah, you're full of, and he goes,
Yeah.
no. I said, I'm coming to California to prove it. And he was there with Batista and Victoria. They were all out there. I remember I gave him a silver dollar. And I don't know if you saw that interview, but I gave him a silver dollar at the airport.
Hmm.
And he said, what's this for? I said, you're going to need it to get home because you'll never make it.
Wow.
And his comment on the podcast was, either my father was the world's biggest asshole or the world's smartest genius. He said, I'll take the second.
Hmm.
And it was, again, a motivational factor.
Yeah.
You tell me I can't do it, guess what? Yeah.
Yeah.
And look what he did. So it was a shock
Hmm.
because I didn't think he'd ever do it. But then when he got in, I'm going, okay, let's see where you go from here, kid.
Yeah.
UPW was kind of a okay place to start, I guess.
Yeah.
We went down to OVW. I even went to Kentucky down to OVW.
Wow.
Interesting story. When we drove from California
Hmm.
to Kentucky, myself, Matt, and his friend Mitch and John, to his apartment.
Yeah.
We get down there and the office is closed. I go, what's up? It's supposed to be. Why was nobody there working? Because, John, you should have checked the calendar. It's Kentucky Derby Day. Nobody works.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And then from there, the rest is history.
Nice. So as he's having his last match this weekend, what are your overall takes? Everything he's accomplished in pro wrestling, we talk about. What a career. From your perspective, what has that been like to experience it and see it all?
I've experienced a young man start from the beginning,
Hmm.
from the very, very bottom. And if anybody doesn't believe hustle, loyalty, and respect, if he hasn't proven to you as an individual that you yourself, hustling and believing in yourself, being loyal to yourself and those around you, and giving respect to those close to you and around you and yourself, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. I've seen him be at his high. I've seen him be at his low. They were going to let him go. So it's like, holy mackerel, he's back. So I just take a look at this and say, I am so proud
Nice.
of my son for what he's accomplished in the business and what he's accomplished with Make-A-Wish
Yeah.
and the lessons and the people, the young people sometimes will grab me and go, my son was a drug addict. Look what your son's done for him. You know, my daughter was this. You can't believe the motivation he had. I did a match in Canada, and a lady came with a locket, and she opened it up, and it was a picture of John on one side and the daughter on the other. And I said, I think that's tremendous. And she said, I do too, because it's the last time she saw anybody. She died 30 days later. It was a Make-A-Wish deal. And I'm going, wow. I get chills just thinking about that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all about, hey, look at me, I'm the champ.
Yeah.
You know, he never forgot where he came from, and he never forgot who he was. That's important. And he was always there to help, and he's still there to help. And I think he'll always be there to help.
Yeah.
But do I ever think you'll see John Cena in the ring again? Ever? Never.
Yeah. Well, John, I want to thank you for doing this, and I want to thank you for everything. I've told you since I met you when I was like 12 years old or younger, the impact you've had, the fact that I've got to call matches and everything. Seriously, thank you for everything. However, I've ended every interview the same now. The day you decide it's all done in wrestling, which isn't happening anytime soon, but the day you decide it's all done, what do you want your legacy in pro wrestling to be?
I suppose the legacy I'd like to leave is I made people smile.
Yeah.
I made people feel wanted. I made people feel happy. And together, we all enjoyed the journey that we took.
Nice.
And together we shared the ups, the downs, the smiles, and the tears. And hopefully at the end of the road, we all came out on top.
Nice. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for everything. I truly appreciate it.
I look forward to seeing you soon, my friend.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon. Thank you for doing this, and thank everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.